Welcome to the show, everybody. Three Beards Podcast is going all squatchy on you tonight. We brought Bigfoot Anon, Connor Flynn, onto the show. Talk about all his research. Fellow Floridian with us, and as I said, he hangs up in the Panhandle with all the hurricanes and storms. You know, we try to play it safe down here in Central Florida, where we live the bougie life, and we only get the occasional lawn chair knocked over. So we brought him. He's got a lot. He's on YouTube, TikTok under Bigfoot Anon. That's Anon. And he has got, he's trying to get to 100,000 subscribers on TikTok. So, if you're on there, get him there. He's on YouTube. He's got lots of content on there to check it out. And that's the same thing as Bigfoot Anon. So, we are going to be talking Bigfoot, Dogman, Catman, which I've never heard before. So we're definitely going to get into that. Cave explorations, just you name it. He's a rattlesnake whisperer, so we're just going to have to check this out. Connor Flynn, Bigfoot Anon is right now. Welcome to the Three Beards Podcast. My name's Craig, along with Austin and Chris.
Passed to a new generation of Americans born in this century.
Let me out.
I'm afraid that is white.
Then live to send the innocent to their death? Is this justice and honor in Massachusetts colony?
All right. Guess who we finally decided to show back up the show? It is Austin. Oh my God, he made it back. Fire school. How was it? Did you burn? It looks like you burned most of your beard off.
It was just EMT school. Fire school, hopefully in August. It was lots of fun. Like I tell everybody that's asked me, I think everyone should do it. At least Florida, my school was pretty basic. Basic shit that everyone really should know for a basic EMT. It was fun. When I took my test, it was a little more complicated than they told us. So I think we got kind of a little jip, but we passed and we're all good. So some of us are going to day fire in June. Hopefully the rest of us will be in night fire. So I'm ready.
All right. Yeah, like I said, he's back. So at this time, like I introduced, just bring on Connor, Bigfoot Anon. How are you, sir?
Oh, man, I'm doing incredible. The stars finally aligned for us. My beard hasn't grown in fully, sadly, but I've had a nice busy day and week, and I'm really excited for the weekend, so just pumped up.
Nice. And that was, and like a tease there, we'll just get right to it. I'm going to put up here, like I said, on YouTube, I'm going to bring up your channel here so people can see that. But this was what I was talking about for anybody. So here's a man just walking along, just right next to a rattlesnake. Not like super zoomed in. He's basically Steve Irwin. The only thing he didn't do is yell crikey and pick up the thing and like, look at this beauty.
Look at this beauty.
Oh my God, dude. I'm not sure what was going on there with that one.
Yeah, she didn't even rattle at me or hiss at me one time. I was just trying to get her out of the road. It was right near this place called Look and Tremble Rapids, which is famous for a bunch of ghost stories of this headless man looking for what he lost, and then also religious snake handlers that they would test their purity. I'm not going to grab any of those anytime soon, but I definitely would try to escort it out. And then at the end of that video, you can hear a lady yelling at me like, I wish you got it across the road, and I got it in the ditch. But she just got a couple new puppies and she lives nearby, so I understand her panic. But she understood that I was doing the best thing too. But yeah, I try to keep it at safe distance. And I actually woke up to that video being banned on TikTok this morning. So I appealed it, and luckily I won the appeal quick because they were making threats. They were saying one more bad thing, I will lose certain rights and restrictions.
What was so bad about that?
I know there's half naked people on TikTok upside down. There's literally people holding rattlesnakes. So me safely escorting the little pretty serpent out should not have been flagged. But I'm glad everything balanced out. But yeah, it's I'm looking for crazy monsters, but sometimes just the things right near your shoes and boots could send you to the emergency room or graveyard quicker than anything.
Well, maybe that was just the thing. You should have been wearing a Speedo or some provocative outfit, You just one of those where that way it actually fits sometimes with the TikTok things. And I'm just, because when we first started the TikTok channel, oh my God, I told him it's like every other, it's like every video you're scanning it is just, it's just TNA. Just
watch my titties.
That's all it is. That's all it is. You're going. And I told the guys, I'm like, so watch what you search up. Why? Because it took me almost a month to get it to where those videos weren't the constant thing in your feed channel. And like, oh my God, because I was trying to find channels like yourself, have them on there to where, okay, we can get this content like we talk about on the show. But it's just like, half the time it's like, oh my God, my top fell off. And you're like, oh, Jesus. Like, I can't.
Yeah, it's getting bad. I don't even want to say it, but there's girls openly breastfeeding on the platform now, and my rattlesnake videos get taken down. I jumped off a bridge into a river, and it's a gator-infested waters, and because it's Florida, and that got taken down. But you got girls on the train running the train.
It's like, because even in that thing, it's like if it's natural, it's fine. I go, it wasn't like you were like, hey, let me see if I can throw this over while Austin's in the outhouse, and chuck it in the door, and you're like, okay, this is dangerous activity. No, this is you literally trying to safely get a snake across the road. It's like, but I was like, man, I can't believe how close you were to that thing. I was just like, it's like, no, I wouldn't need to have the snake stick, make sure that it stayed just enough away.
I have a snake stick in my car, but I was driving my mom's car on that weekend. I was living large. I actually was driving to Tallahassee on my way to a film for Phasmophobia. It's a video game about ghost hunting, and I played the Mare,
Nice.
the M-A-R-E, and that's what the movie's called, the Mare. And my car is all rusty from up north, all the ice and the salt. And then so on long excursions, I take the nice family truck. But yeah, man, it was quite the trip. And I saved a cottonmouth, a copperhead, and a rattlesnake within 72 hours. So that was definitely one of my favorite weekends down here in Florida.
Oh my God. I said, you're finding them. One of your videos too, where you were in the cave, the interference when you were looking at the cave. So what do you think that that five-toed print, what do you because most people, we're just gonna go like to the people that may not understand, because most people are counting their toes right now. They're like, I've got 5. So why is this a big deal? So like, explain to them what the difference is, because a lot of them are like, what's a 5? I'm 1, 2, like I said. So what was it about this print? Is it because they're all elongated toes, and that's why you don't have the big toe?
Yeah, well, for one, we had to hike probably like 2.5 miles up over hard, jagged rocks and under bridges and up through dense like pricker bushes and vines, basically a jungle. So nobody was doing that barefoot. So to see just a barefoot print down there was incredible. But it actually matched up with how the Into the 400 female slender prints look exactly like those. So I think it was a young female skunk ape, Sasquatch, wild woman, Or I am definitely open to the possibility that it could have been a homeless railroader, because it does go right along a railroad. And I know that homeless people do live out there in the woods. So it could have been a feral person or a wild woman. But I definitely think it was a smaller type breed if it was one of these ancient ones, because it was smaller than my foot, and it was very, very narrow. But we also were able to cast it, and it has like the scrapes going upward. It's very cool. I'll grab the cast real quick.
Yeah, while he's doing
Wow, that's crazy.
While he's doing that, I'm gonna bring up for those people. Yep, so there it is. Yeah, I was gonna.
And the interference is really crazy too, because we filmed for probably like 2 hours that day and didn't have any interference. And I was with Jack McClellan, who has thousands of dollars worth of gear. And yeah, we were underground, but we filmed underground before, and that didn't happen. So it was very strange that right when we made the discovery, it started happening. And it's happened in the Green Swamp right in Central Florida before too. When we find a stick structure or maybe like an arch or even sometimes a footprint, sometimes things will start acting up. Maybe our equipment will go off. I know people have their tri-field meter go off. I'm not completely sold on that, just because there are a lot of things going on in this world that, you know, our eyes and ears can't really see. We can just feel and perceive. But back to this print, it's very cool because it was going up a bank. So you get the real toes right there, and then the scrapes, the extension. Those aren't super long toes. Well, they are pretty long, but it's like a double marking. So it's really, really cool. But it's smaller than my foot. So I definitely think it's a small creature, kind of like the creatures in The Descent, maybe like a white translucent being. But there are many skunk ape tales and sightings and encounters that have been right on the Chipola River. So I'm not surprised if it's a caveman. And Donnie Miller has also had a frightening encounter with a giant caveman, like a 12-foot one, right off the same highway. So I think the caves are all connecting, and they go to a labyrinth. And right here in Mariana and Jackson County is the only guided cavern tour in the whole state of Florida. And there's more than 50 caverns just in that state park, just in that area. And only 3 are like accessible to people and professionals. So it's really crazy to think what goes down under beneath.
Well, you know, with you said that, I'm trying to, while we're talking about here, I'm going to try to find this image. I've shown a couple of times, but that's one I get your take on it, because we've talked about a little bit before. We need to do a little show on it. Jessica Jones was just on here. She just did a show on hers Friday on the Kandahar Giant. And that's where I'm wondering, like, where you said your witness saw, 12 to 13 foot tall one, and these are all cave dwelling. And so it looks like, and that's been a long held thought, that this isn't just a little network that goes along the East Coast. This is a worldwide, like there's this system, and that these creatures are actually subterranean. And that's what we just occasionally see them, but there's actually this group that's the thing, is we don't know how big, how small. And that's what I was wondering if you've heard more reports of like this size, the 12 foot and taller creatures that are down there.
Oh, definitely, man. Up in Georgia and Alabama, there's a lot of mounds as well that have been excavated with the mound builders, with the sun worshipers. And then down here in Florida, that, of course, leaks through. There have been huge skeletons found down in Tampa, and even down south, like in the Everglades, and farther south, like Key West, there's been giants found. So, yes, man, they are our ancestors. They have been here all along. And I definitely think there's a connection between the ones that they're finding in the Middle East, like the Kandahar Giant, and then the ones in South America that correlate with the pyramids and the other ancient structures. So yeah, man, once you tap in, you see it's all connected. And I'm from Ohio, land of 10,000 mounds. They have the Serpent Mound there too, and they found like 11-foot skeleton, and they found thousands of skeletons over 7 feet tall, and they all have certain correlations too. And I've narrated over 10 hours worth of newspaper articles from different decades, different newspapers, different parts of the newspaper, front page, side column, back page. It used to just be news back in the day. Now everything's swept under the rug, but you got to think, some of them might be a little, exaggerated, but some have exact correlations with others. Like they're seated in a seated position. They're in a seated position facing the east, covered in rubies and copper and gold. And it's really just amazing that we might be connected to them or have learned from them. I think the Native Americans learned spirituality and medicine from these ancient giants. And I don't know if it's the Neanderthal people or the Sasquatch, or is it right in between and there's some kind of divide? And that's what the real question is. So people that can't even get off, the fact that, we're not the top of the food chain, and we're not the beginning of it either. So man, there's just so much out there, and I love it. There's just a discovery in this week in the Grand Canyon about a huge tunnel and huge labyrinth, and it correlates with the Egyptians being found. Man, it's nice when you start to see your research come full circle to the norm, and I'm just ready for it all to come full circle.
You ever been an idiot and just jab yourself in the eye while you're on the show?
So by any chance, have you sent out that cast for like another expert's opinion on it, to try to see what maybe it is? I mean, it doesn't look like a human's foot to me, a woman's foot. It doesn't appear to be one of those.
I'm open to showing it to, other researchers and enthusiasts. I've brought it to different conferences, and, people have been over here and looked at it, but I'm not, looking to send it to any universities or scientists, because frankly, don't give a F what they got to say, because, they're all paid for. They are already in someone's pocket. They aren't playing by the rules. They aren't even on a level playing field. They've already been surpassed if you look into history, and you really have to cover your ears and eyes to fall into line with them. And man, if anybody's followed my research, come on, man. Well, you'll see I am the university. Cryptid University, and there's Connor University.
Yes,
there you go. Yeah, so when I was just looking through some of your videos and stuff, what would you say is your favorite either location to go hunt? Is it just kind of here in the Florida area? Is there someplace that you prefer to go? Because I know you said you went to Alabama and you've been to this place. Is there a place that you really like? And then kind of the second part to that, when you get, and I'll remind you if you forget, but it's just, what's your favorite thing to go look for?
Yeah, man. I look for history. I look for magic. I look for our connection to the creator. And that's really everywhere. If you look at it, it's in our fingernails and our hair. But man, when you could see just the grand design in its pure form, like seashells, pine cones, the brain waves, and all the fake space crap they throw at us. But I know it's on a deeper level of fractals and just percentages and frequencies. But I have two favorite spots, I'd say. Up in Ohio, Cuyahoga Valley National Park, Helltown. It's a famous place, like the real life Resident Evil, like the real life Silent Hill. It's the home of the Grassman. They filmed a lot of documentaries there. We used to look for a lot of waterfalls and like abandoned buildings there. And then we were also looking for the Peninsula Python. And of course, the Ohio Grassman. We smelled them and heard a lot of strange stuff. And just when we went out there at night, a lot of strange stuff happened. But I think that was more paranormal than any kind of creatures. I think that land is stained with experiments and torment and just dark arts. And that really takes over down here in Florida as well. But I try to stay as pure as possible in my favorite spot down here, and that's the Garden of Eden. Right here in the Panhandle of Florida may be the true Garden of Eden. 27 of the 28 trees in the Bible are right in this preserve, and it's called the Garden of Eden Trail. There's also an area that is four deltas or four rivers that break into a delta, and the good book describes only two places in the whole wide world, and one's freezing cold and one's right here in Florida, and provides it all. Then my favorite is gopher wood, and that's Torreya coniferous. And that is what Noah used to build the ark. It's the lightest, strongest wood in the world. You can't break it. You can only bend it. One of the only few places it's found in the whole wide world is right here. And then right across the river is where Stacy Brown and his dad filmed the skunk ape at Torreya State Park. And then right down the river is Ocheesee Pond, where in 1873, the wild man was captured. And then he was taken to Chattahoochee Hospital for 3 years, experimented on, and probably tortured and killed. And then they said that after 3 years, they buried him with a bunch of Native Americans and then put a building on top of him. And my good friend down here is the head IT guy at Chattahoochee Hospital, and he lives on campus. So I've spent hours on that campus. I know where the building is. That's on top of the grave. A couple other people say it's out in the woods near the old golf course. So I'm trying to connect the bridge, between ancient and new, and trying to show that it's not that far out, not that far fetched. They have literal hospital files on the wild man right here in the Panhandle.
Chattahoochee.
We know the skunk ape exists. So it's time for the rest of the country, the rest of the world to wake up. Just like how we set the precedent for freedom and the rest of the country, maintaining their jobs and their freedom. Come on, man, hop in line. And it's F Disney. We do this for the community.
And yes, Joanne, that is Austin's head. He's not looking in the camera. So I'm not sure what's going on. The people, it's like, is that Austin's head? Yes. He's looking down, not up. No, when you were saying about the wild man too, is because you look back in history. I mean, it was Davy Crockett, his stories. He even encountered it. And that's one of the things that I've always held on to, where if you can go back in the historical record where First Nation tribes are talking about these things, ancient cultures are talking about these things. This isn't just some guy sitting in his basement with aluminum foil on his head talking about, I've seen a Bigfoot, I've seen an alien. You can go back to historical records. And I mean, when you have historical figures that have described these things, tribes talking about giant red-haired creatures that were cannibals that would, that they would have to fight. At some point you look at it like there has to be something to this. So then that's where people like yourself, when it comes in, you're actually trying to bridge that gap, like where's, from the historical record to now, where, what happened between, what's going on between now, where are they still, and that's what's really fun to watch and see on these things. And that's one of those things that's pretty critical, is to get that information. And that's what I like. And it's pretty cool that a lot of those sites are right here close by. So we, just makes it easier for a road trip.
For sure. But it's right under a lot of people's nose, but a lot of people have no clue. So that's my job, to highlight it and to be loud about it and to be in people's face about it. I talk about it pretty much every single day at the comic book store. I'm like, if they are into paranormal stuff, I bring them to Garden of Eden. If they're religious, I tell them there's a real trail that has the book. It lays out right in front of you. There's a pamphlet that they take you on, like a 19-stop tour of the old continent, man. It's very, very magical. And I'm just happy to be part of it. I feel like I've been magnetized down here. I lived out of my car. I took the passenger seat out of my car, built a bed, went from Cleveland down to Lakeland, Central Florida. And then after a year there, touring with a punk rock musical band, then I moved to the Panhandle. And I still remember getting off the exit and be like, bro, what the heck? Where is my mom moving to? There's nothing out here. Now I'm right down the street from, Donnie Miller, Stacy Brown, Torreya State Park. Marianne was one of the most haunted places going back to the Civil War history. Mark Muncy just came out here and filmed me for his Eerie Travels TV show and said that it's St. Augustine and Mariana here in Florida. And that really just gave me goosebumps, and it showed me I have found the path, what I've needed to do. And every single day I try to live up to, what the creator has laid out for me. And, sometimes I fall short, but sometimes I surprise them too. So it's fun to just walk the walk.
Next time I'm up in the Panhandle, I'm going to have to link up with you. I would love to go see the Garden of Eden and maybe film something for Three Beards, because I'm in Tallahassee every once in a while.
Dude, come on
Yeah.
up. We can get some brewskis at FSU. I could show you where Ted Bundy, knocked out the sorority girls. And then we could go to the Garden of Eden.
there
Then
you
we can go to the Mariana Caverns. And then we can finish our night at the Bellamy Bridge, the most haunted bridge in Florida. And yeah, man, I'm all for it. I have 2 open rooms, got land for a little tent. If that's how you rock, I'm all for it, man. I'm about, I'm a tour guide at heart.
Nice. That's awesome. We'll link after the show, but definitely I'd love to make it down your way.
Yeah, well, there's been a couple people that have said the same thing. It's like you get them all riled up, just like Connor's positive vibe. I'm like, and that's why I comment back. I'm like, who doesn't love high energy? It gets you excited. It gets you wanting to go out there, and that's one of the things too. I was going to say, have you thought about doing tours yourself, like actual guided tours? Because that's one thing I didn't know. Because it seems like what we're talking about, that you would not have trouble getting 3, 4, or 5. People go out and we're going to go on Connor's tour, and he's going to take us to these locations.
Definitely. Eventually, that is going to be the plan, to take people on guided nature hikes, basically, because I'm going to give them the paranormal history, the animal history, and then whatever else spice I could find about the area. But it's definitely on my goals to move to a place like New Orleans or Vegas, or even maybe like Tampa Bay again, because I lived in Lakeland for a while, so I got that Orlampa vibe. But if I could live close to Ybor, I know a lot of ghost stories and a lot of the haunted bars in that area that, Friday to Sunday, I could definitely lead like 4 or 5 groups every night. But right now, I feel like I'm in an important time that I have like a farmland around me that I get to just research and write and work hard and stay out of trouble and, build up that resume. So that way, when I do go to New Orleans, they're like, boom, hired, but I do feel like if I walked in there and wanted a job, I'd get it. Of course, that's how you have to approach every situation. 1,000,000%. I moved from Ohio and lived out of my car, and I am flourishing. So I feel like, the world is mine. And when you follow your matched path, all your needs will be met in abundance. And you will fall, you will stumble, you will stutter, but man, you just get back up. It's Chumbawamba mode, man. That's how I came up in the 90s. Like, you get hit in the mouth, you get back up, you hit him in the mouth harder, and then you play hard. Like, I like bringing the best out of me, my competition, the shows I'm on, and just everything. I like to up the ante. I'm trying to up the standard of all this. The knowledge needs to be higher. The preparation needs to be higher, and just the open-mindedness needs to be bigger and open. I'm trying to just break in society one day at a time, either through film, through the arts, through my books, through podcast radio shows, or in real life, because I'm not, scared to say I believe in Bigfoot. I believe in paranormal. The Garden of Eden is among us. I'm not big on metaphors and metaphysical stuff. This is real. This is all real. And I'm huge on it, man. And I feel like I'm an advocate for life, and I just want everybody to be.
Yeah, Chris, there's noise in your background. That's what I'm not. Yeah, it's we just, sorry, that's a little technical there. I had some noise bleeding over, but no, that was one of the things, like, for me, really, with your story that I really liked, because I'm myself in the glass is half full type thing. There's something positive at it. It's like where, it's like I can't dwell on the negative. I got, there's got to be something. It's like, boom, I got kicked out of the house. All I've got is clothes on my hand, but I still have a car and I still have a way to get to some place. Kind of like what you did, and you get there. It's like, and you make something of it. You can sit there and, just, this is the opportunity. And that's what I really like, is that you have a high energy. And and I think that's why you're successful. That you are, is because of that. It's just like what we're seeing in the chat room and what we're here right now. It's like, what isn't to like about being around somebody that is high energy, so positive, that's, this and that, because the only thing you can do is feel, you feel, excited about it. And so that, and that's what I like. And that's what it seems like. It really bleeds over. And it'd be one of those, that's the type of person that's fun to go to a conference and just listen to, because it's like you could just read it. You could read a Bigfoot almanac, and you're going to have everybody right there taking notes. They've all got the book in front of them, but with you talking about it, they're gonna be like, "Oh, I never thought about it that way," and just start jotting down the notes.
Oh, yeah. This Saturday is going to be legendary. I'm speaking at the Southwest Florida Skunk Ape Conference with Stacy Brown, Dave Shealy, Mark Muncy, RPG from Expedition Bigfoot. I am so excited. I'm coming back from going 4 for 4, in the World Series at the Great Florida Bigfoot Conference. So I'm super pumped to just let her rip down there. And mostly
where's it going to be at?
It's in Punta Gorda, down in the southwest corner, south of Tampa. You guys should come if you guys are in the area.
Yeah, that's because now is there a place that people can find that? Is that on like Facebook and stuff too? So where people can find that information so they could get that too?
It's on Facebook, Southwest Florida Skunk Ape Conference. There is an Eventbrite website that you can get the tickets. Phyllis Caesar is hosting it. She is awesome. She was on Haunted Hospitals. She speaks an alien language, and she's done a lot of third eye work with a lot of the best Florida researchers. So she has a touch her and her fingers in a lot of this. So I'm just super excited. And yeah, it's Saturday, Punta Gorda. There's an after party at Hurricane Charlie's. There's a pizza party Friday night. We're going to be meeting up and setting up. So it's just going to be a party, and I'm going to bring it. I can't wait. Linking up with all the Florida researchers is just such a good time. And that's what's awesome and so much different down here than everywhere else. In Seattle, they're always bickering. In Canada, they're so worried about everything. In Florida, we get down, man. We got Sasquatch, we got booze, we got ganja, we got babes. Like, we got it all down here. So, just again, take a look at my channel, take a look at my videos. We have fun when we're doing this, and I feel like that's why we yield results, because these creatures are curious. They're not going to be curious of some squares walking in the woods. They're going to be curious of the new generation, So that's what you have to talk. You got to live it. You got to be it, man. And I was in the forest today, getting close with Mother Nature and the wolf woman and the cat guy. It's all going crazy, man. And that's every day, it's either I'm working at the comic book store, spreading the good word, selling my books, or I'm off pedal to the metal trying to find new cryptids and strange mysteries.
Well, yeah, who doesn't want to go? You got two options. You got the professor over there with the press clothes giving the lecture, or you've got the two guys over there like, it's a tree.
It's a tree.
You're like, I'm hanging out with those guys. they're having fun.
I was gonna ask you what was your favorite part of cryptid hunting, but I see you love it all. So I mean, there's really you summed it all up with your energy. So it's all fun.
Yeah, I love just getting away, man. I love getting lost in it. Time doesn't exist. All my problems in the real world, insecurities, vulnerabilities, that doesn't exist when you're out in the woods. And especially when something is near, you go back into primal instincts mode. And I love that, man. It's probably good for your brain too, and just really good for your spirit and soul. I know that.
So let's get to that cat. Let's get to Catman. I've never heard of this before. So let's tell. So what are the details on the Catman?
Yes. Well, recently I saw Vincent Richardson posted a blog post about the Catman of Bay County, which Bay County is Panama City, and Panama City goes to Weewa on the number 22, Highway 22. I was about to say Holiday 22. Every day is a holiday in my book, man. All right, Highway 22 from Weewa to Panama City. And in 2007, July 2007, a woman was driving her elderly mom to the bank and saw this giant cat like panther. She thought it was a huge dog at first, like a black lab. And she saw the hind end going through the reed grass. And then she started driving real slow because she didn't want to run over the dog. And then within seconds, it leaped into the road and just stared at her. And then it stood up on two legs, and her mom started having a panic attack, and she was just so enthralled by it. And she did a interview on Vic Cundiff's new show, My Paranormal Experience. She talks about for 37 minutes about how detailed it is, and it was beautiful. It had hands, but it had claws. It changed colors in the sunlight. It was very muscle, and then it just flowed, and its steps were like 4 to 5 feet long. But she saw it just for a few minutes, which is crazy amount of time. Usually it's like 5 seconds and it lasts like a lifetime, but this actually lasted for a few minutes, and then she saw it run into the woods. So that was pretty crazy that it got reported and I found it, but it also correlates with a lot of other reports in the area. There was a tall, two-legged feline in Tallahassee reported decades ago, and it was very vague. Just pretty much that's all the details I could find. And then Donnie Miller from Standing Goats Rescue, he also talked about cat people, about 3 to 5 feet tall, that could run 30 to 50 miles per hour, could keep up with cars. And they hung out at an abandoned shrimp factory between Panama City and Mexico Beach. So I went today and made a nice long video. I made a short video, for TikTok and everything, but then I did a little bit of an expedition going down some dirt trails and a couple grass paths that I could find. So it was really cool bringing together the Dogman lore in the area, all the wild man sightings, the Calusa cat, which is another cool thing that I've researched. The Calusa people are, the first Native Americans that lived in Florida. And they were mostly in South Florida, like Naples and the Everglades area. But they worshipped a panther-like deity god. And there's a statue of it at one of the museums. And I went and took pictures with it. And I'm very interested in it. And it's just so crazy that this deity elemental has showed itself pretty much right down the road from where I live. So yeah, man, today I was on Highway 22 checking it out, and there was a sheriff that actually cruised by, and I had a notepad, with all the information, and he saw I was up to no trouble. At least he probably thought I was just doing like a TikTok dance or something in front of the sign.
Oh yeah.
And I was doing hardcore research, and I had a great time. I got super sweaty, and then I went into golf and I went swimming for a couple hours, and that was research itself too, because there is a cool story of the Pensacola serpent that killed 4 people over like 55 years ago, right off the coast of Pensacola when they were diving the USS Alabama looking for treasure. And I've went deep sea fishing, and we've brought up sharks and seen dolphin and huge grouper, Goliath grouper. And the Gulf definitely is the home to a lot of monsters. And Godzilla just called it the apex. They called Pensacola the apex. I've seen videos that they have found Atlantis under the Gulf. They found the dome under the Gulf. A lot of that might be a little hoorah, but the Gulf is definitely a special place, and it was a magical day.
Yeah, if there's anything you can take away from the show, man, you have got to do the tours, because the common theme from this stuff is everybody, oh my God, I love Connor. I love his energy. Like I said, you would be very successful doing these tours, because you're one of those where, I don't want to puff you, just keep puffing you up, but you're one of those people where it's just, we could go on a tour and all we can find is rocks and, and bush. There's nothing. And we're going to come away like, God, that was a lot of fun. And you're like, what'd you find? Oh, we didn't find jack shit. Nothing. We didn't. It was like, but we went out in the woods and we just had a blast. We had a lot of fun just looking at stuff. And I said, if there's anything you take away from this, is you got to make it happen.
Oh, I will. I definitely will. With all in due time, I'm just taking my steps to it. If anything, this world just needs to catch up to me, and then we'll get it right. 100%. And it's sad. It's sad when you're ahead of your time, man. A lot of painters die broke. A lot of authors do too. Buy my book.
Yep. Well, and that's really what it is because it's, most painters, their success is after they die, so, the same way it's, but that's, you've got, like, I've shown a couple clips here for the people that are just listening. You can get, he's got quite a few things from shorts to the long films. That one, The Void Cat, that's coming out soon.
Oh yeah, man. The Void Cat. I got the DVD right here. It has, we got a standing ovation at the Tallahassee Horror Festival. We've gotten top 3 in a bunch of other festivals. It's doing very well. We're actually already starting to film the sequel, Void Cat 2, Patriot. It gets a lot bigger and the world gets a lot better. But I'm just super excited, man. That is directed by Jack McClellan. He's an FSU film student. He also made this movie called Zillafoot that I'm in, and this is doing very well. SRS Cinemas sold a lot of copies online, so it got a widespread release. So you can find my movie at Best Buy, FYE, and Walmart. But of course, it's not at my local Walmart, so I got to order it online. But it's a really funny, junky movie, man. But I'm really proud of what we're doing, at home in our camp. I just wrote a new script called Southern Shamrock because I'm an Irishman from the north, and we have huge celebrations March 17th. Come down here, they don't give a dang. So I wrote a whole script about how the Irish culture is lost in the South, and it's a leprechaun movie, and I'm playing the leprechaun, and we just casted all the other characters. I'm just super excited to see where it goes, man. And then, like I just said earlier, we filmed that movie called Phasmophobia, that it is a ghost hunting video game that really is doing well during the past 2 years. And we got the official license for it, so hopefully it really blows up, and maybe you guys will see it, I don't know, in some kind of trailer for a video game one day. But I don't know, it's just
that'd be cool.
I'm going a million miles per hour at the top wherever I can go.
Yeah, I was wanting to get back to the Zilpha. Now, what is what is the premise of that? What is the story? Like if you could boil it down. Is it what it sounds like? It's Godzilla meets Bigfoot type thing?
Yeah, it's half Godzilla, half Bigfoot, like a morph between them. And there's an alien invasion, and they're taking over the world. And then Zillafoot comes down to interfere. And I am the cryptid research officer that is brought in to bring special advice to the military, and I'm writing down facts on them, and I got a headlight on my thing, and it keeps shining in the general's eyes, and he doesn't care about the facts. He throws me out, man. So it's got some comedy. It's really funny. I'm very proud of my parts, and Jack is the sole director of Zillafoot 2. So our 3 characters that are featured in the movie are going to be the main characters in the sequel. So I'm super excited to see where that goes, and it was really fun. It's so bad it's good. It's a cult classic, but it's freaking bad. But our parts are awesome.
Is it a Bigfoot that roars, or is it a hairy Godzilla? What does Zillafoot look like?
It's a Bigfoot with reptilian hands
and a long tail.
The artwork is crazy.
That's cool.
Got the poster of it back there, but yeah, it's at Walmart. You guys should ask for it, Zillafoot. And if you guys don't have it at your local, you can get it at Walmart.com and bring it to a conference, and I'll sign it for you. Ruby Joe Brew, I know she'll be there this Saturday, and I'm just so excited. Last time I was with her in Mayaca, we found footprints. A lot of people had strange happenings in the night. The footprint that we found in Mayaca was actually 6-toed, and that kind of correlates with the Nephilim. And then Dave Shealy's, his footprints that he usually finds in South Florida are 3-toed. So it's interesting that mine that I found in the cave is 5-toed. One we find in the jungle is 6-toed. And then the ones all down in South Florida Everglades are all 3-toes that at least Dave's finding. So are we having 3 different creatures, or are they blending different subspecies?
Well, even like that, I was just thinking, it would make sense, especially when you start getting into the swamp areas, because a 3-toed would make a lot more sense, especially if there's a webbing, for the soft, to actually cover more ground. Whereas like us, just when compact foot, it's going to sink in, so you're going to want that wide spread. So the 3-toed would make a little more sense, especially just evolution wise, adaptation to that environment.
100%. And then over in the Honey Island Swamp in Louisiana, one of my other favorite locations to research, Chris Jericho has done a documentary with MK Davis there. Some of the footage actually predates the PG film that comes out of Honey Island Swamp. But I went there and I photographed a huge carcass that was like 7 to 9 feet long, and it was all bloated. Have no clue if it was the Rougarou or the kill of the Rougarou. But the Honey Island Swamp also borders a space testing area, so it could be like a mutant. And if anybody's seen the movie Hatchet, Victor Crowley, he's a giant mutant that kills anything that goes into the Honey Island Swamp. But that creature in the cast out there have 3 toes as well. Some people have debunked it and said it was like a alligator one placed on something else, which I'm sure some of them were, but I'm sure there were some authentic 3-toed prints too, because I've seen casts with my own eyes.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, Chris, it is your side. It's and yeah, that's one of those things too, like, because you see there's a lot of things. It seems like there's a really big correlation from a few people we've talked to now that a military base, something, research facility, and cryptid sightings. That there really seems to be this major connection. So is it they're attracted to the military sites? Is the military, the ones creating these cryptids? Is it a combination of both? I mean, that's one that seems to be, these data points seem, anytime you're plotting stuff, when you keep doing it and you keep seeing these different things, you start, doesn't take long to start noticing that overlap. Where we're seeing this, well, it just happens to be a military base off, just a not short distance from this location. And, it's like it overlays really close.
Definitely. I think there's a combination of both, like you said, and I am huge on the old world as well. I think Earth is maybe 10% of what it used to be, and there was mud floods. So all of our favorite stadiums are on primary spots that focuses and harnesses and harvests energy. So then I'm guessing that the military bases are put on those spots as well. Same with nuclear plants. That's why we're always seeing Mothman sightings, new nuclear ones, and then how they get in the tunnels, the Sasquatch, somehow get past the security cameras. There's dozens of reports of it. So yeah, I think it's a combination of they're trying to get in and try to maybe harness the energy too, or maybe they're escaping from being tested, or they're just playing with it because they know that the military isn't really trying to go to war with them. So they're just seeing how far with comfort. I've heard so many stories at Fort Lewis, Washington. My buddy Ronnie, who goes by Ninja, they used to always tell him about big animals, and it's say, hey, like bear? No, Stuart, big animals. And then there's reports of ones actually being shot at that same base that, How to Hunt and Dixie Cryptid have reported on. So it's really crazy. And of course, sometimes the telephone game gets it a little exciting. But I think there's definitely a root to it. And there's definitely a correlation between the military, the nuclear, and the old world. There's fractals, ley lines, and then the Native American mounds, volcanoes, tunnels. There is a map that is going on, probably in the air. It's, if you ever do mushrooms, you see that this world is a lot denser than it appears to be. So, man, we just got to sink into the energy.
So how do you think they evade the cameras? That's been my biggest question. I believe in Sasquatch, but how did all this good technology we have, that's one of the biggest questions I have. Do you think they're portal creatures? Do you think they go in and out of a portal? Or they just they're so smart, they manage to dodge the trail cams?
I definitely think it's a mixture of multiple things. I think that they could see where all the security camera and all the trail camera and whatever's been altered by humans, I think they can see that. I think they can feel that. And then plus their hair can also play with the light. So sometimes if they are caught, maybe they can somehow still camouflage. And then with infrasound, Doug Highcheck, he has reported that their heartbeat gives out infrasound and it goes through the grid. So I'm sure they can, feel like sonar, like dolphins and bats, and probably sense it all, but they can also manipulate our electronics. So I think just a mixture of everything. And they do get caught on trail cams for sure. I have 5 million views on a couple trail cam videos on my TikTok. So they definitely get caught on trail cams, but they evade them for the most part. But I think mostly just by their senses, but then you add in their ultra senses and it's easy.
Yeah, is kind of circle, like the term, we're going to circle back, kind of what you were talking about, where, the telephone game. One, that seems to be a lot of things like, and that's where, tell me if I'm wrong, but I think that's where your research comes in, is that you're basically going back to the historical record and you're trying to move forward with that. Because one, the Kelly Hopkinsville encounter, I use that picture in, the promo for this one. It's also known as the Kentucky Goblin. Yep. That's one of those that's where the term the little green men came from, was this encounter. But this is almost the atypical, telephone game where there are so many different versions of what occurred that night, depending on what side of town you ask. If you talk to the guy at the guy at the little diner, he's going to give you a whole story. The little old lady down near down near City Hall, she's going to give you a completely different, version, but it all comes down to the same thing. Something happened that night. Nobody can explain it, but there was something that was definitely seen. It's like one of those things, like, well, give me proof. Well, the proof I can have is that this wasn't just like the Van Meter visitor. This is something that, when you have the businessmen, you have the town drunk, you have the housewives, you have all these people from different facets of a community giving you somewhat of the same account. That's where I'm going to hold belief in, I'm going to hold stock in this one, because this isn't just the crazy guy shouting at the wall. And you're like, well, hey, no, here, I'm going to jot that down, that the triangle black man came down out of the sky, and he turned my buddy over here into a triangle, and they flew off. You're like, all right, I'm just going to jot this down. This is one hell of a story. Hey, if I just made up a new occult one, it's like, hey, I want credit for that. But that's, it's, you have those kind of stories that are crazy. But then when you have something like this, when, like you were talking about, like the cat man, now we've got a couple of different stories that are giving really close, kind of almost similar aspects in their descriptions. And so there's a lot more of a plausibility, like, okay, let's look into this.
100%. And I feel like that's my job, to connect all the crazy folklore with the historical stuff, with the in-between. And that's where the magic is found, with, being boots on the ground, talking to the locals, asking around. I'm not scared to be denied. I'm not scared to be ran off. Today I was asking about the cat to locals, and no one wanted to be on camera. Big whoop, you live to see another day. And maybe sometimes that leads to something. Like I was researching and investigating the disappearance of Ben McDaniel at Vortex Springs. He went missing underground while diving, apparently. So I searched the whole woods because he liked the trails nearby. The old owner of the place supposedly had beef with him, but then was killed while on investigation. So they think that something was killed by Ben and some of the divers were involved. So I might have been talking to the same people that might have been, guilty to this, but you have to, throw yourself in it. And I love those kind of stories. Gary Webb from The Plain Dealer, Don't Kill the Messenger. I started out just a newspaper writer in high school, an investigative journalist. So I'm going to go at it at any angle I can. And yeah, I've run into crazies, but I still jot it down. But there's some kind of root to it all.
Yeah, and I'm trying to. The name of the show is failing me. They just did it. It was a document. It was kind of like a docuseries. I want to think it was like 5 or 6 episodes. They did it in California. It was right up northern California where there's the large weed grows, and there was there was Bigfoot encounters. Well, it actually ended up becoming, through the research, I don't want to. I'm going to spoil it for anybody that hasn't seen it. That there was no Bigfoot, but it was one of those things where through the research, you actually, you discover an entire other story. But it was one of those where if you just jotted it down and posted it down, people would still believe, oh my God, there's Bigfoot sightings all over this hill. But that's where I think it's important to do that research side, is because if you can clear out the noise, then the focus becomes really nice. Because we've said it in so many different shows. That's where I like. I like to find the ones the verifiable ones and focus on those, because that's where you can start getting people that think you're crazy, and you're like, look, here's all the stuff. Here's what I have right here. You've got to show me where this is wrong, because I'm all the data points are here. This isn't just some drunk guy's recollection of what he saw that night. This is detailed, times, police reports, everything. 400 people saw this. That can't be made up. Everybody has the same story. Everybody saw the same exact thing. Like the Phoenix Lights. I mean, no matter how much the military wants to downplay that one, when you got thousands of people all describing the same event, you can't say weather balloons, because the light doesn't refract the same direction, when you have people spread out over a huge area. So it's like, if all 4 of us are going and we see something, well, all 4 of us aren't standing in the same exact location, so that you can't say it was the way the light was playing on the tree. Well, no, we're all spread out and we're all seeing this creature. I go, you gotta kind of, at that point you're like, I think there might be something to this.
1,000,000%. And that's what I'm big on, is building my foundation, because I have interviewed, police officers, military veterans, land surveyors, professional teachers, professional athletes, professors from colleges. So, man, I have built, quite the resume of guests, you could say. But man, I stand strong with my research and my passions going forward. Even if the whole world is against me and society says no fairy tale, I know what I know, and the TV cannot program me otherwise. I stand on my two.
I can tell anybody that's going to walk a rattlesnake is, I'm going to feel pretty okay with being out in the woods with him, because, it's like if he's comfortable just walking, pace for pace with a rattlesnake, it's like, yeah, we're going to be good. We're going to be good.
Head on a swivel always, though. We don't want to step on a rattlesnake. We don't want to get swooped up by a rhesus monkey, because they have bad diseases.
Yeah, that's one of those things. I don't think people realize that we do have wild monkeys down here in Florida. People don't think about it. It's like, no, there's wild monkeys out there, and it's crazy. I'm surprised they still can, they can still make it, because it's not exactly, great foraging, for a monkey, but it's like, hey, apparently they found a good food source because they keep multiplying.
Oh, yeah. They had to hire people to kill them, because the populations were getting so big. So they flourished down here, and they've been seen all the way to Alligator Point out here in the Panhandle. So they went from Silver Springs all the way to over here on this side of the state. So I'm sure a couple have made it into Louisiana. I'm sure a few have made it over to Texas. So they take over, man. Once they're here, it just spreads like wildfire.
Oh, when I was a kid, Alligator Point, they actually have an alligator farm there, don't they?
Yes, they do. There's multiple alligator farms in that region. Just crazy marsh wildlife. And sadly, people, are very cruel to these animals. So sometimes the best place is these reserves and preserves, just to keep them safe, man, because there's poachers are crazy down here.
I was trying to bring a map here for people so they can kind of see where we're talking about, because a lot of people, because it's just Alligator Point is just south of Tallahassee, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Yep.
Yeah, so
it's right near Wakulla, which Creature from the Black Lagoon was filmed at Wakulla Springs and Silver Springs near Ocala. And there's a legend of a volcano near Wakulla. So it's very cool, ancient tribal location. And I again think these elementals and these deities gravitate towards these, crazy features and structures.
Yeah. So as we're getting time-wise here too, I wanted to get with us. Because I mentioned like the Kelly Hopkinsville goblins, what if you got a couple or something like that, but obscure cryptids, what are your favorites? I mean, just kind of kick out, like, I really like the Pukwudgie. That's I love the
Pukwudgie too.
That's one of my favorites. Yeah.
Yes. Of course, Lake Erie monster, South Bay Bessie. It's a serpent-type creature in Lake Erie. There's a hockey team and a beer named after it. In Toledo, there's a bar that you can go in the basement and throw chum in the water and feed the monster. Also, over here in Florida is the two-egg stump jumper, the Rocky Creek rod bender, and then the cabbage man. So I love just that like trifecta of stories here.
Okay, say those three again real quick. I'm writing those down. I actually have not heard of two of those.
Yes.
The rod bender?
Yes, Rocky Creek rod bender. It's a Bigfoot type creature, but also seen to be said like a giant sloth, like gray with claws. And then the two-egg stump jumper, and that one is not as tall as a normal Sasquatch, kind of like 5 to 6 feet tall, but more wide. It kind of reminds me of Shrek. There's been a lot of local sightings right by the Chattahoochee River, right by the Georgia-Florida border. And then the cabbage man, which that's just a slang term for, the skunk ape around here. That's what some of the guys call it. But I definitely recommend everybody check out the Ocheesee Pond Wild Man. That was the one that was captured. in 1873. His descendants are still spotted today. Two Egg TV did a 3-part documentary talking about how a kid was kidnapped by Sasquatch there. There was wolf children there, like the people that are covered in hair. There was a giant skeleton found at El Cheesy. And then I have been told that there's 2 mummies deep in like a den. And they say it's Native Americans, but I think they are wild men. So I'm trying to make it out there very soon. But it's 9 square miles of dense cypress, and you have to wait till the water levels go to certain parts to get to certain access points. So to get past the Devil's Half Acre, you gotta wait to water, man. But it's really cool. And then the last one I'll recommend and tell everybody is the Pascagoula River aliens, and that's over in Mississippi, only like 2 hours away from here. I was looking for the Rougarou with my friend Adam when we went to the Pascagoula River, and I actually sharded. I think I was hit by infrasound after I was taunting the forest, and then I was not eliminated, but I was singled out from the group, and I felt like I almost became a missing 401 victim. I wrote about that in one of my chapters of the book, and I've told the poopy story a few times. It's really funny. But the Pascagoula River aliens happened like 30 years ago. 2 men got abducted by aliens, taken up into the spaceship. There was a giant eyeball that was like keeping an eye on them. Then there was 3 aliens, 2 grays, and a female gray in the middle that was bigger and taller. She didn't put them through any pain, but she tested on them. There's a lot of documentaries, a lot of TV shows about that. But we were boots on the ground in the swamp, same river that they got abducted from. And that same day, more than 200 people from the area saw the spaceship in the air. So that's going back to like how 400 people witnessed it. Well, hundreds of people witnessed that incident, and it all comes together. So if you ever go to New Orleans, hit up New Orleans, the Honey Island Swamp. Biloxi has a bunch of haunted places, but then make the trek to the Pascagoula River. And I'm just so spoiled out here in Florida. Yeah, those are the funny ones. They look like Tin Men. And MetaZoo and a bunch of other like cool illustrations have really jumped on the Pascagoula River aliens. But it's probably the easiest cryptid to draw. But man, I didn't see any Tin Men out there, but definitely had the werewolf vibes in the swamp.
Wow. That's crazy. That's crazy. I just had to start writing it because that's the part I love doing about these shows, is because you always come across those obscure ones that you'd never heard before. With the stuff, and that's one of those things that's nice about when you boots on the ground, you talk to people, you're going to find that these locations where all of a sudden you'll just have somebody that'll open up. You know, you're getting coffee and a donut, and you just get to talk with somebody, and you're like, yeah, I saw me some aliens, and you're like, really? You know, you just start writing it down, and then you find out, then you're like, you end up with this trek down to Pascagoula River Radio, and you're talking to these guys, and next thing you know, like you said, we got this news article, and that's how this stuff happens, and that's what's really cool. It is just how you it'll be somebody like, oh yeah, the Loveland Frogmen, stuff. You have these stories that people, I mean, even like Point Pleasant, West Virginia, you go there for Mothman. I mean, these ones, you talk to some people are going to have. They're going to have that little story that when you get to know them, they'll finally open up, and they'll say, yeah, I saw something, and you can tell they're not looking for notoriety.
I think I provide an open platform, and I'm pretty open-minded that people feel comfortable coming to me with the more strange thing. And like Alcoholic Anonymous is Bigfoot Anonymous, baby. And I saw that someone said they were asking if I have a documentary to view. I've been in a few documentaries, but one that I helped produce is coming out in this next month. It's called From Fear to Understanding. The trailer is right on Supernatural Spectrum's YouTube, but it's also on my TikTok. We started in Mayaca. He filmed down in the Everglades, the Green Swamp, and then we went up to Evergreen, Alabama, the town that loved Bigfoot. There's a documentary film there. And then we went to visit our friend Flat Rock Kenny, and we were chasing the Flat Rock boogers, and he has some crazy security camera footage of them knocking on the side of his house, coming up onto his mom's deck. Sadly, they killed his brother's dog. But when we were out there, man, we recorded crazy singing and howls with a parabolic dish, one of those cool recording devices that, you know, it's like a big bowl, and the audio is unreal. You know, it might be the next Sierra sounds. Then the next night, when the firepower went home, we separated, went in 2 different tents, and Kenny was like, man, you guys should come a little closer to the house. We really pushed the limits, and I think the other guy in the other tent got abducted by aliens, and then I was dealing with something on the ground running past our tent. But all of that is recorded, and it's going to be in our documentary. I'm super excited. I'm very happy to still be here. It's really scary sometimes when you're laying on the ground, freezing cold, hearing stuff, and you don't know if you're asleep or if you're awake, or if it's a dream or if it's reality. And you just got to fight through it. And that's what I'm all about, is just being brave, being strong, and trying to set the example for the rest of us. And it's little wins, man. I have been outside hugging people, shaking hands for the last 3 years. You know, everybody should, you know, fall in line and show some love.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Your fans and, you know, cohorts are giving me a lot of homework here, because I keep seeing all these things, like talking these names, like, oh my God, I got to write that one down too. I've never heard of this before. These are fantastic. These are the stories I think are really cool, is when you can get these little these one-offs. They're, you know, and we talked about the talking mongoose. You know, it's just when you get these ones, it's just these really cool stories where it's just there, and it's like you said, when you get down there and you actually do the research part is what's really cool, because that's what builds the story.
1,000,000%, man. And yeah. I'm all about it. I try to go nose to the books, you know, boots in the ground, fingers in the mud, eyes to the screen, but eyes, you know, trying to stay free too. And I just try to, you know, evolve as much as possible. I had one of my naysayers, you know, say, when the novelty runs out, you know, people going to fade away. And the novelty is never going to run out. I am going to always remain fresh and adapt and find new stories and come up with new beliefs and conclusions for myself. I am challenging myself more than anybody could. And I hope everybody else is challenging themselves harder than I'm challenging you, you know? So everybody's just got to up the standards and up your guys' energy. You know, I don't need no coffee. I don't need no speed. I just need some hot cocoa once in a while, you know?
I was waiting just for the moment. It's like that old commercial, make seven up yours. You know, because, you know, it's like, I was just waiting for the up yours part, you know, but that's what you were describing there. That's how science is supposed to work. There's no such thing as a definitive answer, because that's everything evolves. I mean, everything's coming through, and we have to figure out, I mean, just as more evidence comes in, we're going to understand more things, and things are naturally going to progress. For anybody to say that we already know everything there is to know. No, well, I mean, for one, we've talked about a few things. If we know everything, then what were the Loveland frogmen? If we know everything there is to know, what were the Loveland frogmen? I don't physically see one mounted behind you, you know, like, here's my taxidermied frogman back here. I go, we don't know the exact size. We don't know what they eat. We don't know so there's all this stuff that's where boots on the ground actually just same thing. We've got all these shows on Bigfoot, yet nobody has a definitive. What do they eat? Where do they sleep? How do they sleep? How long do they sleep? You know, why do they, you know, what are their patterns? Why do they do it for this? We don't know these things. So just as your answer for the naysayers is, you know, that's where I see somebody like yourself. We got to get answers to these questions. We can't just, you know, there's no room for assumption. We can make hypotheses, we can make these guesses, but until you actually do the research, I mean, like I said, we're not going to have that definitive proof, because obviously if there was definitive proof, we wouldn't be here talking about these strange cryptids. We would say, yeah, just go down to the Miami Zoo. They've got that large skunk ape hanging on down there.
Hey, I believe that there are some lands that men and Squatch, you know, walk hand in hand. And I have videos of that on my TikTok. There's a Russian Sasquatch named Grisha. that translates to Greg, that is good friends with the man. And Igor Burtsev, I don't know if you guys remember the clip where he was at the Nebraska conference and then someone called him and it was a Sasquatch on the other line. Well, that same Sasquatch is Grisha. So the rabbit hole gets so deep. Like, I have videos of Sasquatch driving cars. Like, you know, so when people say Sasquatch doesn't exist, it's like, oh, man. So I try to, you know, loosen them up with the Ocheezy Pond Wild Man and then, you know, try to get them in. But I know that some people, I'm not their cup of tea. You know, this is a million miles per hour and it's exhausting for some people, you know, but that's why I slow it down. They could buy the books, you know. I've written 4 books in the past year, and you guys can read that at any pace possible. But a lot of those questions that you were asking, like how they sleep, their eating habits, their, you know, tendencies, I address a lot of those in my books and a lot of my research. So I just, you know, encourage everybody to definitely check out my videos, my books, my movies, my documentaries, you know, challenge me in the streets, debate me. Come to the conference Saturday if you know you want my autograph or if you want a box. I'm down for it all.
Yep, I'm just showing them right here on the screen. It's, you know, Panhandle Pirates, Big Brother Bigfoot, Monsters and Mysteries Around the Corner, and it looks like you've got 2 versions.
Yeah. I self-published my first 4 books, and then I joined Beyond the Fray Publishing, and they re-put out my 4 books with, you know, a new cover, a new revised. And of course, Amazon, you know, can't do it, but I don't trip on none of that crap. I don't give a F, you know, we keep it going. Yeah, I know that clicking on Amazon is hard enough for some people, you know. Amazon, CONNORFLYNN. Y'all can read it 1 page at a time if it's too much for you.
Nope. Well, I've got you here because, especially since you're one serious research, this is one thing I've been meaning to get with a lot of the guys like Tom Cardos, Brian M. Bowden, and stuff. Have you thought about putting pen to paper and getting together with people in the community and doing a standardized, like reporting, almost like a field guide, like a standardized reporting thing, just so where people know this is the kind of information that I need. You know, if you see this, you need to tell me, you know, you need to tell me this, you know, just whatever information you can fill out on this thing. I mean, to where it's like something they can print off online, print out, or they can buy a little, you know, little few page little paperback thing that you sell, like a field guide. Take this with you packing. If you get it, just start jotting down the information. And then take a photo.
I love that concept. I love that idea. And that's true. Mine are reflections of me, my work, and everybody that has came in contact with me. So in a way, my books are a little bit of that, but not like template style, like how you were saying. I would love for something to exist like that. As we know, with these researchers, no one could ever get on the same page. Maybe us Florida researchers could do something like that. But man, I don't know. It's a great idea. It's
Run with it. Run with it. And print it on the waterproof paper.
Visual definitely works a lot more than words nowadays, but I'm all for it, you know, because it's honestly important. I bring a pen and pad every time in my backpack, so I think that is essential. And if we could have a template with even maybe a guide with it, yeah, man, that's a solid idea. So if we can't come up with it, I'm sure one of the old timers like Lauren Coleman, you know, already thought of it.
That's the thing. It's like, I've really liked the people that we've networked with because it seems to be a standard. Nobody's here like, this is my territory, back off. You know, came up with it first. Is just because for me, it's just like, if I find some information, I have no problem sharing it because, you know, we should all be on the same page. We want to discover, ultimately, does Bigfoot exist? Yes or no? You know, if we can't get behind that, I don't know what we can get behind. I mean, it's just because either way, you know, if the answer is no, great, we know. If the answer is yes, we have an answer. So why people have this much, like, you know who I'm talking about. I'm not going to say names. You know, it's whether it's aliens, whether it's big. There's certain names where this is mine, my own. You know, you back off. This is my. And I've never understood that logic because we can only get better by working together. I don't understand this whole separation.
1,000,000%. And I bring them all together down in Florida, and I'm looking forward to Saturday. It's going to be a party, and I love being the glue. I know when back in the day when I, was in the musical, when people would come from different groups, I could bring people together. I got the multi blend. I know a little bit about the music. I know a little bit about the herb. I know a little bit about the sports. We all can just connect it all together. So I'm big on that. I'm big on my young researchers and the people younger than me, then also the elders and the people I've researched with. So I'm all about bringing people together, and this weekend is definitely gonna be magical. And every interview, it's magical, man. We couldn't do this without us four, the people in here. This can never be recreated, so it's gonna live on forever.
So I said, if there's one thing we can do, it's like work with Connor. This is going to progress this thing forward. I mean, it's like who wouldn't want to? I mean, it's going to be high energy. So yeah, everybody needs to go to Bigfoot Anon on TikTok first. Like I said, get him to 100,000. Thing, and then what if you happen to be there and you just happen to type by mistake 3 and a beards after that, you can go ahead and subscribe to them too.
Yeah, go to 3 beards. Go to 3 beards.
Follow them along.
Will happen beyond me. Like I could call all my family and friends, and it ain't gonna amount to jack crap, But the algorithm and good videos. I wake up with 500 new followers every morning, man. So that's what you gotta do. Consistency. For the last 4 months, every single day, I post. So I challenge everybody. If you want to, create a community, be consistent, be authentic, be yourself.
And then Brian inbound there, Connor's carrying the torch for the younger generation. Yep, I would say so. I mean, that's as I said, you want that high energy to come and get involved.
I got the torch in one hand. I got the old timers on my back. My dad was a fireman. I know how to fireman carry these old timers, man. Yeah, but I'm just very thankful. Some people might take these jokes a little wrong, but you got to have fun in this, man. You got to be able to joke with the guys. It's like it's a fun vibe, and that's what brings the force alive. If it was serious all the time, I definitely wouldn't be doing this. I wouldn't be flourishing because I would be so stuck in a box, and I wouldn't know what to say. And sometimes interviews, I'm like that, man. People have seen it, but when I get to be myself, that's when we figure things out.
And then just once again, I'm going to show that up on the screen for everybody here. It's so just go right there, Bigfoot Anon. Just go right there, subscribe, get him. He's already doing really good. 2.7 thousand subscribers.
And one thing I want to mention again, another fun cryptid right down there. It's the red me with a red shirt. Esto, Florida. Two-toed Tom. He was an alligator 24 feet long from the 20s, killed mule, killed livestock, even killed a little girl. He's been dynamited, even shot, and he's transformed into this beast. He's like Gustave. And it's kind of funny. On YouTube Shorts, like 27 views. On TikTok, that video just hit 200,000 in like 2 days.
Isn't that crazy?
If you strike out on YouTube, go to TikTok. If Instagram shadow banned you, get your Twitter following up. Never give up. That's what I'm all about. I'm all about bouncing back. Yeah,
that's it. I mean, like I said, so go. I don't have TikTok on the computer because I can't show that, but it's the same thing. Bigfoot Anon. He's also on Twitter. I just followed him on Twitter. So the same thing. And just definitely check him out. Amazon, pick up those books. Go visit him at the conferences. You're driving down I-10. And you just happen to decide to hook into Tallahassee there for a second. You're probably going to go look on the side of the road. If you see a guy with long hair with a notepad, I go, you probably found Connor. Stop in and say hi.
Chasing a snake.
Yeah.
If you're going past I-10, the Chattahoochee exit, get off at the Chattahoochee exit, go right by the High Lie Arena. Right across the street from there is where they filmed Finding Bigfoot. So literally 2 minutes off the highway is where they filmed Finding Bigfoot. And if you've driven across Florida, you've been in that territory. So again, these creatures are closer to us than we could ever imagine. And if they're as subterranean as our evidence leads, they might be right under our basement.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Yeah, that's yes, right. Yeah, that's one of the I just haven't downloaded on this computer yet. So that was one of those. I've got it on my phone, but it's not everybody wants to watch me sitting here doing this with my fingers as I'm trying to find it. Yeah. So, but Connor, appreciate you coming on the show, man. That was a lot of fun. It's amazing how fast an hour and 15 minutes flies by.
Oh man, time flies when you're having fun, and it's also just eternal. This will live on forever. We'll be thinking about it. The thoughts will hopefully inspire something. Hopefully, I remembered a couple of my, deep dark memories too of the Pascagoula River aliens trying to infrasound my insides. But man, I just want everybody to stay strong for the rest of the year. The world is a really backwards place. It's on fire right now. Hold on, be strong for your family members. Stay natural. Don't buy into the establishment. Stay clear in your mind. Don't fall for any of the programming, all the hatred, all the chaos. It's all orchestrated, and that doesn't happen in natural order, man. Try to just stay pure.
It's amazing how all that chaos isn't present when you're out walking in the woods.
1,000,000%. That chaos is nowhere if you don't feed it. I haven't seen none of this crap. You just gotta remain focused. And the world and the gatekeepers in the shadows will try to break you down, and you just have to get back up, and you have to find your tribe too. And I'm well aware that not everybody likes what I'm putting down, but the people that do, I feel for them, and I speak for the ones that aren't speaking. I get into a lot of strange conspiracies and weird dark puddles, and some people aren't vocal about those, and they might feel insecure that they're like going down weird paths. I'm here to tell you, no, you're finding the truth. The world will make you seem like it's all smoke and mirrors, like you're going down the wrong way, but follow your heart, man. Follow your heart.
Well, appreciate it, man. We'll take care. Have a good, like I said, and definitely reach out, because I know Chris makes it over there frequently, but I said definitely the next time I'm passing through that way, I'm gonna reach out to you and try to meet up with you.
For sure. And if you guys aren't busy Saturday, you guys should come down to Punta Gorda, because you guys are closer than me. I know that. I'm coming all the way from here. So you guys, unless you're in the middle of the Bermuda Triangle, which I'm sure you could just click your heels 3 times and then you'd appear anyway out of the Bermuda Triangle. But come by Saturday, tell them you know me, you might get in for free.
There you go.
+1.
All right, man. Well, appreciate it. I get this, and I said we'll look forward to. We're definitely gonna have to have you on again. So, especially once the stuff comes. So definitely enjoy that conference. If we can't make it, like I said, I want you to have a good time.
Oh, I will. Everybody better buckle up. But get your seatbelts ready.
This is the appetizer.
The Richter scale.
Yeah, this is the appetizer.
All the seismologists and cosmetologists in the area better be ready. Because the long hair and the freaking Richter charts, the Richter scales, and the earthquakes and the volcanoes, it's all going to come back, man. There's a hurricane already coming this weekend. And it ain't going to slow me freaking down. It's going to slow down. They better name it something tough to stand up to Connor.
Yeah, I think what's the name right now? It's like Alex or something like that.
Oh, my gosh. Anybody going to the conference, don't worry about Alex.
Yeah, I can't remember what its potential name is going to be. So yeah, it's
Alexandra.
Yeah, it's like that, and it turns into Alex if it builds into something.
Yeah, I want to say Alex because it's Agatha over in the Pacific now. I think it's going to become Alex. Yeah, so it's nothing like a good storm right at the beginning of the season. Kick it off with a bang. But yeah, if you feel an earthquake, that's from the conference getting all riled up from Connor's presentations. So, all right, sir. Have a good time, man. Appreciate it.
Talk to you guys soon.
All right, everybody. This episode was brought to you by 3beardspodcast.com. Check us out there. You can pick up merchandise through there, or you can go to redbubble.com. 3 Beards Podcast is there. Support us that way. Also want to thank, we did get some stars this show, but appreciate anybody that gives Facebook stars during the program, because that really helps us out. Same way, hopefully with YouTube, when we get to 1,000 subscribers, then we can start doing the super chat, and that helps as well there too. But we're definitely trying to build subscribers. We're trying to get that all pumped up. So appreciate everything. Check us out on all the social media. We've talked about TikTok. We're on Twitter, Instagram. We're on all those. Check those out. Patreon. We do have one Patreon. Thank you, Laura Porter. We really appreciate you doing that. And it means a lot to us, everybody that supported us by buying gear and everything. That really helps us out. And we can't thank you enough for that. We're rebroadcast every Wednesday night at 11 p.m.-ish on ERRT Radio, courtesy of Ron. And just check them out. Go subscribe to them. Help him get some views and stuff there. Just thanks everybody for watching. Go to Amazon, buy those books, go to those conferences, hook a mean curve off the interstate there, and go visit Connor over there near Tallahassee. Go help him with the research, and just if anything, just say hi and tell him that we sent you. So, but everybody, take care. We will see you next week. If I'm not mistaken, we got the boys, Tom Cardos, Carlito, and Brian Bowden. I think we're talking about Chernobyl, all the things around it, Chernobyl ghosts, just everything Chernobyl about the accident stuff. So, so that's going to be a lot of fun. So we will see you next Wednesday. So everybody, good night.
Yeah.